So it is Lego Robotics. It's a very cool program that was started last year. I believe it came, Maura and Rory at the Works were talking, and it just kind of became a program that Maura really looked into and said yes, and we were invited to a meeting last year to learn more about it.
The program starts mid-October when we sign up. Mid-August, yes. Mid-August for the field kits and all of that registration for the teams. And it goes through December 5th is a competition that we are all three middle schools will be going to at COTC OSUN right across the street here at Liberty.
And the competition consists of three parts. First, as you can see behind us, the kids are putting together their robots to compete in obstacle course type situations. Second, they have to do a research project and present it to a panel of judges in a creative way. And third, they have to do a teamwork core values part where they're presented with a challenge on the spot and kind of observe to see how they interact together and how they'll compete. And then those three things are compiled together to give them their final score at each competition.
I'm Brian Bomer from Newark Schools NOW.
There's a lot of students out there, like me, as a senior need 4 math credits to graduate. But calculus just isn't calling my name this year. What class can I take? Don't fear, the answer is here. Newark math teacher Chris Herron has developed a revolutionary new class, Math, Game, and Puzzle Theory. This class dives deeper into the math behind classic games and puzzles, as well as more into the realms of probability and value.
4 times. Whoever gets to that point gets a point. Then you start the count over. You play until somebody gets 4 wins. Whoever gets that gets a point. Whoever gets 2 points first. Another class that I developed is called Math, Puzzles, and Game Theory. I developed it as a class for students to take as their 4th math credit, and as just an elective that students could take for fun. And so probably my class this year has 28 students, and I would say about half or so are taking it just for fun, and the other half are taking it because they need a class and they're taking it to graduate.
Mr. Herron also leads the math club here at Newark High School.
That's had a pretty good turnout. We've met like once every couple weeks. 15 or 20 people show up to that, but we just hang out and do some math puzzles, and we're going to start some math competitions here soon and get t-shirts and stuff like that. Class covers some more fun topics that you wouldn't see in other classes, and it applies math to like real world situations. And so it's not typical just math calculations, solving equations. It's like...
For information on classes and scheduling, contact your guidance counselor in the hub. For Newark Schools Now, I'm Max King.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie, and I'm here with Roslyn, a member of Student Council. What events do you do in Student Council?
At first, we made the float for the homecoming event, and we raised money for the school.
Do you have to have certain grades or GPA?
You have to have at least a 3.0 or 3.5 or higher.
How can you join Student Council?
At first, you have to sign up, and then the class picks you.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Why would someone want to join the Spanish club if they're already taking the Spanish class?
We do a lot of other different things at the club where we don't have time to do in class, like cultural things and just hang out and eat food.
Why would someone want to join the Spanish club if they're not generally thinking about taking Spanish?
Well, as I stated before, we talk about culture, so it's good to have a good background knowledge because you don't want to go to another country and maybe offend them.
What was the trip for? I was awarded the T.B. Leslie Travel Grant.
T.B. Leslie was a Newark High School alumni who traveled abroad during her summers. The experiences she gained inspired her so much that in her will she established the Tibby Leslie Fund and the Licking County Foundation.
I actually applied and then I was selected based on my application.
The Tibby Leslie Travel Grant is a local grant awarded to educators that gives them the chance to bring worldly experience and knowledge back to the classroom.
How did the application go? Like, what kind of questions?
So essentially, you wrote a grant proposal. So it was what you were planning to do, where you were planning to go, things you were going to see, and then kind of like how you have your interview questions, like what I was going to bring back to the classroom with me.
Okay. When was the trip?
I actually drove to Chicago because I flew out of Chicago the day school ended, and then flew out the next day, and then was there until I think June 25th. So it was about 3 weeks.
Where did you travel to?
I flew into Edinburgh, so I started out in Scotland, and then I went down to London, and on the way I stopped and met a friend who's getting his PhD in geophysics in Bradford, England, and then we went over to Normandy and Paris. I saw everything. When we were in Scotland, we saw Edinburgh Castle, we hiked Arthur's Seat. In Bradford, we went and we saw a 16th century abbey. It was a ruined abbey. We spent a day in York. In London, we saw the Tower of London. We perused all kinds of museums. We went to the American Cemetery at Omaha Beach. Kind of wandered the beaches of Normandy a little bit. And then we saw like Versailles and the Louvre and all kinds of stuff in Paris and Chicago.
How long did you stay?
3 weeks. So a couple days in Scotland, like a week in London and a week in Paris.
What did you bring back to the classroom?
Everything. So it was kind of interesting just because I've been all around the U.S. and seen different historical sites in the U.S. and obviously the U.S. is much younger than England and France are. The atmosphere is very different because everything is so old, and it was really neat to see, like, you could wander around the streets of London and you could see like the physical scarring on the buildings from the bombings during World War I and World War II. We saw the Churchill War Rooms, which is just an underground concrete bunker that they staffed and kind of put all kinds of relics and things like intangible like experiences I can bring back and things I saw, and then tangible I did buy a lot of stuff when I was there that I can use in my classroom.
What was your favorite part of the trip?
I think my favorite part of the trip, it's a tie between two. Versailles was absolutely amazing. And then I also really enjoyed the Fountains Abbey, which was in England. It was just really neat to see. It was just a ruined monastery where Henry VIII took the roofs off to drive everyone out, and it's kind of interesting to see how it fell into decay, and it was almost like walking into a fairy tale, which was really neat.